Hi, I'm Montgomery County Probate Judge JC Love. As probate judge, my office oversees wills and administrations, conservatorships and guardianships, adoptions, driver's license renewals, the issuance and renewal of automobile tags, business licenses, marriage licenses, and elections. On November 3rd, voters in Montgomery County will go to the polls to elect their county commissioners, circuit court judges, district court judges, school board members, U.S. Congressman, U.S. Senator, and a President. Voters here will also vote on whether to raise property taxes to support Montgomery Public Schools. Today, I want to share important information that you as a voter should know in preparation for November 3rd. Unlike many other states, Alabama does not have mail-in voting. Instead, Alabama has absentee voting. Under Alabama law, in order to vote absentee, a voter must request an absentee ballot. An absentee ballot application can be found at the Montgomery Election Center's website, which is www.montgomeryelectioncenter.org, or from the Secretary of State's website, which is www.alabamavotes.gov. Due to COVID-19, the Secretary of State's office allows the novel coronavirus to be used as a justification to vote absentee. Voters wishing to use coronavirus as a justification are asked to check the box which reads, "I have a physical illness or infirmity which prevents my attendance at the polls." This justification requires you to include a copy of your photo identification. All are considered acceptable forms of photo identification for purposes of voting under Alabama law. Voters may hand deliver their completed absentee ballot applications to the absentee election manager's office, which is located on the first floor of the Montgomery County Courthouse, located at 251 South Lawrence Street, Montgomery, Alabama 36104. Upon receipt of your absentee ballot application, the absentee election manager will review and approve your application and then send you an absentee ballot in the mail or hand deliver you one if you present to the office in person. The absentee ballot comes with 3 envelopes. One is a plain envelope, and this is the secrecy envelope. The second one will contain an affidavit or oath printed on the outside. The third envelope is the outer envelope, which is a plain pre-addressed envelope. Once you complete your ballot, please seal your ballot in the plain envelope. Next, place the plain envelope inside the accompanying affidavit envelope. Then seal the affidavit envelope and complete the affidavit that is on the outside of the envelope. The envelope must either be notarized or signed by 2 witnesses aged 18 years of age or older. Your absentee ballot can only be returned by U.S. mail, by a commercial carrier such as UPS or FedEx, or by hand delivering your ballot in person to the absentee election manager's office, which is located on the first floor of the Montgomery County Courthouse, located at 251 South Lawrence Street, Montgomery, Alabama 36104. Please note that your absentee ballot must be postmarked no later than November 2nd, 2020 and received by the absentee election manager no later than noon on November 3rd, 2020. If you elect to hand deliver your absentee ballot, it must be delivered to the absentee election manager's office by 5 p.m. on November 2nd, 2020. Please note that in the event that you request an absentee ballot and fail to return it and later decide to vote in person on November 3rd, you will be forced to vote by provisional ballot. So it is very important that if you decide to vote absentee, that you timely return your completed absentee ballot. Voting on November 3rd. The general election is scheduled for November 3rd, 2020. If you wish to vote in person, please know that my office is doing everything it can to limit the risk of exposure to and transmission of the COVID-19 virus. Before the November 3rd general election, my office will have all 49 precincts professionally cleaned in order to ensure that they are COVID-free for Election Day. Our poll workers will be wearing face masks and face shields, a pair of non-latex gloves, and will be continually wiping down commonly used surfaces with disinfectant throughout the day. My office is asking that all voters please wear a face mask or face covering when coming to the polls. My office will have masks available for those who present to the polls without them. Please note that no voter will be turned away from the polls on election day for not wearing a face mask or face covering. All voters who present to the polls will be allowed to cast their ballots. In addition to face masks, all voters will be given a non-latex glove to use when signing in on the electronic poll pad, and each voter will be given a disposable pen to take with them or discard on their way out of the polling place. We will also be following the CDC recommended distance requirements, so we ask for everyone's patience if you have a short wait before you are able to get checked in and cast your ballot. We will also have hand sanitizer available throughout each polling location. My office is committed to ensuring your safety and moving you into and out of the polls as quickly and efficiently as possible. We're also committed to tabulating and publishing our election results as soon as we can. Voting as a felon. Under Alabama law, you do not lose your right to vote if you have been convicted of a felony. Under Alabama's Constitution, only people who have committed crimes of moral turpitude lose their right to vote. So if you have been convicted of a felony, you may still be eligible to vote, or you may be eligible to have your rights to vote restored. In 2017, an Alabama law was passed that defines 46 crimes that can result in a loss of voting rights. If you have been convicted of any of the following, then if you have an ineligible conviction, you can only apply to have your voting rights restored if you are granted a full pardon by the Board of Pardons and Paroles. If you have not been convicted of one of the above and been convicted of a crime of moral turpitude, including but not limited to one of the following, then you will need to apply to restore your voting rights. If you have lost your right to vote for a crime that was deemed a crime of moral turpitude at the time, but is not on the list passed by the definition of Moral Turpitude Act, then you do not need to apply to restore your voting rights. Your rights have automatically been restored. However, you must re-register to vote with the Board of Registrars in Montgomery County or online at www.alabamavotes.gov. Now, if you've not been convicted of a prohibited felony or a crime of moral turpitude, or if you were determined to be a youthful offender at the time of your conviction, then you have never lost your right to vote. That list includes, but is not limited to, the convictions for the following. If you are currently incarcerated for one of these crimes, you can still vote. Please see the sheriff or warden to obtain a voter registration card in order to obtain an absentee ballot. Dates, deadlines. Absentee voting for the November 3rd election begins on September 9th, 2020. The deadline to register to vote is October 19, 2020. You can register to vote from your mobile phone by downloading the Montgomery County Probate Court's mobile app by going to the Apple Store or Google Play Store and typing in Montgomery County Probate Court. You can also register to vote at the Secretary of State's website, which is www.alabamavotes.gov, or by visiting the Board of Registrar's office, which is located at 125 Washington Avenue, Montgomery, Alabama 36104. If you have any questions regarding locating your polling location, registering to vote, or if you need to find out if you are still a registered voter, please call the Board of Registrars at 334-832-1215. If you have any questions about absentee voting or how to request an absentee ballot, please call the Absentee Election Manager's office at 334-832-1281. And if you have any questions about the November 3rd elections, please call the Montgomery Election Center at 334-832-7744. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. Your vote counts, Montgomery County. See you at the polls on November 3rd.